Hello all, and welcome to tonight's beer review, which I am dubbing the Move Beer Review. You kind of notice behind me, it looks... well, no, maybe you can't notice any difference. I'm moving at the end of the month, so basically there's not going to be very many reviews until I get fully settled at my new place, which is not very far away. It's just across town, not leaving the windward side, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on one's view of things. And so I only have a few more. I'm probably going to do a couple more reviews after this one, but then I'm going to be gone, so no more reviews for a while. It's now July, so we'll see when this one actually gets uploaded. Like I said, I still have like a backlog of about 15 different reviews, to upload, which is just sad. It just takes so much longer to upload these stupid reviews than it is to make them, and uploading them is not fun to do like making them is. Hence the backlog. So what are we reviewing tonight? Well, it's just going to be a quick review because I've already reviewed this one twice on this channel, and that is Hoptimum from Sierra Nevada, this one being the 2016 one. This was brewed a little bit over 2 months ago, so still nice and fresh. And, as much as people try to go and keep their beers from varying too much over each season's release, it's impossible to truly do. And I noticed some small changes in this one. So, if you haven't seen the review for this one before, let's go and read the back. Hoptimum is the biggest whole cone IPA we have ever produced. 100 IBU whole cone Heracona flavor. Aggressively hopped, dry hopped, and torpedoed, Hoptimum delivers ultra-intense flavors to hop fanatics everywhere. This is 10.4 ABV, so kind of on the rich side. You'll get walloped if you try to drink more than a couple of these. Right on in the head, smell of slightly overripe fruit. Using it in a tulip glass today. It's a deep copper color. Pretty much, well, this is what I would say is the pretty much definition of copper colored beer here. With a yellow-white head. Fairly thick this because I'm using this, but it's not going to last too long, I found. Again, intense smells. Not as intense as last year's one, though. And that sort of overripe fruit note is kind of really strong in this year's release. It's mango season right now in Hawaii, and right now I can say that this kind of smells like the backyard of this house because there's mangoes falling in the ground and they're just kind of overripe, and it just sort of smells like that. That really sort of overripe tropical fruit smell. Almost sweet bready malts. Like sweetbread, Hawaiian sweetbread. I'm using a lot of Hawaiian similes here today. So the malts are pretty, you can smell the malts as much as the hops. In fact, this seems very malty. Notes of dank. Not much in the way of anything, resiny or piney in the nose. Very much on the tropical side. Very thick on the tongue. Slightly boozier than last year's one in the mids. Very thick and sweet in the front and in the mids, but balanced out by, well, incredibly intense hopping in the finish. From Tennessee, not too carbonated here. What's amazing about this, and what gets me all the time, is that it's very well balanced. It doesn't come across as overly bitter, and that is because the intense hopping is balanced by pretty intense malting. Like I said, pretty thick in the mouth, but yet not syrupy. Almost fruity dimensions to the front there. Like a tropical fruit juice, very sweet. Maybe even mango juice per se. And, it's just all clear, leaving a nice resiny taste on the mouth, on the finish there. So it's dry. And the finish is actually dry, despite the intense sweetness of the front. And yet it is not overly dry. It doesn't feel like my tongue is coated in resin right now. I find that kind of unpleasant. It's just extremely well balanced, as always. This is an excellent beer. It is not, I find it not as good as last year's release, in the year before that, or maybe I'm just getting a little bit jaded with time. It just seems slightly more boozy. And the bouquet just isn't as intense as I remember it being. I remember the bouquet before being just this really multifarious, highly nuanced thing, whereas now it's it just kind of walloped me with sweetbread and overripe fruit, with some more usual IPA hop note things kind of buried underneath that. Taste-wise on the palate, you can't get any more balanced than this. It's an excellent example of how how an Imperial India Pale Ale, how a double IPA should be brewed. Big taste, yet fairly decent, clean, well, not exactly clean, relatively clean, not like a big mess of mold or hopping left in the mouth after it's gone. So, Hoptimum 216. Maybe it's just me becoming jaded with time. Maybe it's actually the beer. An excellent beer, just not as good as previous years in my opinion. It just lacks that stuff that makes it absolutely sublime, like in my first review of this beer. And what can I say? It's, like I said, not a bad beer. I'm being relative here. Obviously, if I get a chance, I am going to buy this again, because it is such a good double IPA. But, like I said, just comparing it to previous ones, it doesn't seem as good. But that could just be me getting jaded with time. So, that's your beer review for tonight, folks. Cheers.